Namaste everyone. In today's video, I wanted to share with you about going through your spiritual awakening but not losing your physical reality. Many of us, especially now, there's lots of masters, especially with social media, there's a lot of knowledge spreading about spirituality, spiritual awakening, and people are going through so many their own personal journey, but then in the midst of it, some are struggling physically in their physical reality. So how do you actually learn to find that balance? Because we are in a physical form after all. My name is Priya. I'm very passionate about spreading positivity and empowering people to live their life to their fullest potential. We're all creators, divine being. We have the capability to create our life the way we want it. So let's make it beautiful together. So let's dive in. In today's video, this is a very interesting topic for me about spirituality and spiritual awakening, but also finding that good balance between living our life in this physical form as well. Most people, if you look back, even in history, a lot of people who went through a spiritual path or a spiritual awakening mostly struggled in the physical world, in the material world. So either financially they were like fully broke, they're so used to asking for food and getting food from others, and that's their journey. I'm not saying it's wrong, but they struggled financially a lot. And then at the same time, their relationships also been not too great either. If they were married and then they went into a spiritual path, usually, they end up separating and going into a path, not seeing their family at all. If they were single, then they most likely would not have married at all. And then there are people who got married and, had a supportive spouse and their path was good, but then their relationship with others weren't that great. So and I'm only focusing on the negative aspects right now because I want to focus on finding that balance for you. But if I'm not saying there's any right or wrong in different pathways. But what if like our journey in this physical form is to actually live the reality of this physical world, right? So then it's about finding that balance. So yes, relationships struggle, financially people struggle, but if you think about it, it's like being blissful is so beautiful. You want to feel blissful in any moment, but people tend to think that you need to go to the mountains to be blissful. You need to go to the Himalayas, or you need to go to some nature. Yes, it's so beautiful and you should have that experience if you have the opportunity, but you don't need to, what I'm trying to say is it's easy to be blissful and peace and calm in that environment, but shouldn't we be blissful, peaceful, and in a calm mind of state in this physical form in between the chaos that's happening? Because that to me is true self-realization, true self-manifestation, where you're like self-mastering yourself, where you're able to control how you react to the chaos around you, but still be able to be in that peace and calm. And trust me, I'm not there yet. I'm still in my learning journey as well, but I'm just thinking this is a nice way to introduce people to kind of be like, if you want to go into spirituality, it doesn't mean you can't focus on the physical world either. Think about when we are born, when we are babies. The baby is pure energy. Like, they're so pure, there's no ego, there's nothing. Like, they're just there, they're observing, they're witnessing, they're learning, they're so curious. Like, that's how their energy is. But as they're growing, the society and the parents, the society, everything conditions them. As soon as the conditioning comes in, then we get the ego, then we get all the struggles that we have to go through. The way society has, everyone has their own norms. Then we try to fit in, we try to fight for what we, don't want or do want. So we get into that, the cycle, the circle of getting into material. Sometimes then we kind of lose ourselves again, and then we try to go into the spiritual path to find ourselves again. So it's almost like a full a cycle. that goes on and off. You're like kind of turning yourself around and around, like a roller coaster ride. But if you think about it, if we were already a pure energy, and I love the way Master Sri Akarshana framed it, it's not about spiritual awakening, but technically what we're trying to do is spiritual remembering, because we were already a spiritual being. We came into this physical world, and then we are in this temporary physical world. We are temporarily here in this physical body, and then we're still trying to remember the spirituality, the spiritual form that we were before we were born. But maybe the purpose is not to remember that. It's nice to connect to it and get the powers and be able to manifest what we want. But then maybe our purpose is to find our true awakening, is to actually find and be purposeful in this physical world. Maybe it's about reflecting about what we should be doing in this physical world to fulfill our purpose of why we were here, why we were brought to this physical world in a temporary time. Like, not everybody lives until 100, but even 100 is a short period of time. So what are you supposed to be doing in this 100 years or 50 years or 30 years, whatever your time is? What are you supposed to be doing in this physical world at this moment? Maybe that's the true awakening you should be going through. Yes, connecting to the spirituality will help you figure these things out and move forward, but sometimes it's not about forgetting the physical form, forgetting the materials, because sometimes you need those materials to fulfill your purpose in this planet of your lifetime, of this lifetime that you took for whatever purpose you're serving. So sometimes it's nice to reflect on these things, because I know with social media, people are always talking about why our spiritual master is so into money and this and that. But in this physical form, you do need money. So it's not like, you know, we're all living in the mountains and, you know, you can just be blissful in a mountain state and, you know, eat whatever is available there. If you're living in a physical form, you were brought here for a reason. Maybe there's a greater purpose to you. And yes, it's helpful to connect to your spirituality, connect yourself to that other dimensions where you can accelerate your purpose, fulfilling your purpose. But then you need to kind of figure out why you're here, what you need to do in this physical form. You were brought here for a reason, so figure that out and try to live your life in a purposeful manner. I hope this video was helpful for you or interesting for you. If it was, please click the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and click the notification button, as I'm determined to creating weekly videos for you to empower you to live the best version of you. Until then, namaste.